Hello, Angie Gerber here, and welcome to my podcast, Awareness. Once you know, you can't unknow. A place you can come to start thinking and shifting your thoughts to finally create the results you truly, truly desire. It'll shift your mindset and give you strategies to get out there and get it done. Let's get started. Hello, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about another higher faculty, perception. Now, this higher faculty of your mind alone can bring you peace of mind. It is your point of view. It's the way you see or perceive things. Now, in order to transform your life, it is important to choose to see things differently, in a more supportive and solution-focused manner. If something's bothering you, change your perception. As Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And remember that you have the right to change your mind. See, we get so stuck in our ways, digging our heels in, letting our ego take over, saying we have to be right. You have to prove your point. And it does not have to be that way. It does not have to be that hard. I often tell my clients, and we talk about if you're in a situation that's not going your way, or that's really difficult, or that you're completely frustrated, angry, resentful, pissed off, whatever it is, I tell them, I say, get up out of your seat at the table. Picture yourself at an 8-person table. You're just one of the seats, and the situation's in the middle of the table. So what I tell them to do is to get up off your chair, go sit at a different seat at the table, and look at the situation from a different point of view. Have a different perspective. I go back to a personal situation where for over a decade, I'm going to say it again, for over a decade, I was in the same seat and I refused to look at the situation from a different point of view. And it was a co-parenting situation that we had. And I was just so stuck in being angry, resentful, pissed off. How could she? Like, what does she think she's doing? She's only hurting the situation. And just, if you knew me back then, or if you even talked to me, it was just always this circle of yuck and of she did this now and she did this and I can't believe it. And she flew her parents in to watch, my husband's son versus letting us even have the opportunity. We need to go back to court and da-da-da-da-da. And it consumed a lot of my energy. And I was at this low energy for over a decade until I found Bob Proctor and this information. And it shifted. It was the most amazing thing to give myself the gift of perspective and really just taking a step back in out of that seat of victimness and victimhood and done to me, how could it happen? How could she? Who does she think she is? And all just the negativity that was spewing out of me. And this may sound like I'm really dramatic, but I promise you, I'm not being dramatic. It was just that bad. And I was the cause of it. I can't control anyone but myself. I can't control what anyone else does. I can only control, which I've said before, my thoughts, how I think, and my attitude. No one else can show up and control those but me. So, regardless of the situation, regardless of what was being done, I was choosing to show up the way I was. And when I met Bob, one of the first things he said, take your most difficult situation, relationship, and I want you to find and write down 25 things that you appreciate about that other person. And I laughed out loud. I'm like, oh God, right. That's not going to happen. And, I was just like, but I'm a good student. I will, I showed up at a high level to do what he told me to do, because he said, do what I tell you to do until you find out one of two things. Either it doesn't work or I don't know what I'm talking about. So I did it. And in writing those 25 things down, my perception completely changed. Because see, you can't be grateful and angry and pissed off at the same time. So it was in finding gratitude in what I'm grateful for in the situation about her that everything shifted for me. And he also said the two other things as well. He's like, when you're feeling that victimhood, when you're feeling that anger and that frustration and that resentment and that just like low energy, low vibration, it's like you're drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Or I said, pick up a hot coal, throw it at them, miss them, look at your hand. You're burned. You got bad burns, and it's going to be very, very, very uncomfortable for you. So it's really in changing your perception and realize that anything that's going on right now in your life or in the past, maybe it's how you grew up, maybe it's something that was done to you, which in essence is for you, but at the time, it happened to you. Maybe you felt that way. It's looking at that situation and knowing that that person was doing the best they could with the tools, the resources, their upbringing, their belief system, their paradigms, their habitual behaviors, their fear, their ego, all the stuff that they were dealing with at that time caused them to move into action, which then caused the results. So if you can just look at your situation, if you're in a negative situation or something that you're making a negative situation, and look at it from a different perspective, I promise you, it can change everything for you. It changed everything for me. And once you get out of that victim place and that it's being done to me and how dare they and who do they think they are and just all of that garbage, and you find the good in every situation, because there's good in every situation. You will raise your vibration. And now that's what you're going to attract. You see, when you're down in that lower vibration, what you put out, you get back. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is a boomerang and it will hit you in the back of the head. So what you're putting out, you are getting back. So why not make a choice? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I'm here to tell you that it is so, so true. And it's beautiful when you can embrace it and really decide that you're going to step out of your own way. You're going to give grace. You're going to have faith over fear. And you're just going to try it. Try it. That's all he said, is just try it. And when I started with one thing of my 25 list, it was a lot easier once I got going, because once you do that one thing, then you can find another thing and another thing. And then you look at that person in a different light. And then if you realize that, where they're at right now and how they're acting and the results that they're getting or that you're getting are based upon how they're feeling. And that starts with their thoughts. It's how they're thinking. So you guys are not thinking the same, and that's okay. But if you're sitting there playing the victim role, it's just a lot of wasted energy. So perception, get up off your chair at the table, go sit at a different chair and look at the situation from a different perspective. Because as you've heard, the saying goes, there's two sides to every story. And it's pretty spot on, and we all think we're right, and our ego will drive us to do whatever it takes to prove we're right. And the truth is that we're all just doing the best that we can. And what you perceive as being right, another person doesn't perceive as being right. And that's where a lot of us need to realize and understand too, that not everyone is our people, are going to appreciate us or even like us. And that's okay too. You know, I'm a recovering people pleaser. I pleased people for ever. I mean, just like wanted to make sure everyone was okay and that I didn't make anyone mad and that I, showed up for them. And it's so interesting. I can't remember exactly how the saying goes, but it says, if you spend all of your time caring about what other people think about you, then who's going to care about you? You don't care enough about yourself, but you care so much more about other people and making sure that they like you. So you're going to have a lot of people that like you, but are you going to like yourself? And if you're a recovering people pleaser like me, it's something to stop and look at. I mean, to this day, when I'm thinking about things to say, or I'm going to go live or I'm going to do a video, like I have people's faces and situations pop in on the screen of my mind that I haven't talked to in over 20 years that stop me. Now think about that. Think about the power of a situation or of something that someone said to you that could have been 10, 20, 30 years ago. And you think about it and it stops you from doing something you want to do today. And that is a perfect example of our habitual behaviors and our paradigms showing up to remind us, don't do that. Remember what happened last time? Remember what she said that one time? Over 30 years ago. I mean, it's real, it's here, and it's the awareness around it. That's one of the reasons I show up here all the time, is I want to make people aware of what is happening and, more importantly, what you can do. So what I do when that happens, through knowing this information, through studying and through understanding, is stay neutral. Don't give it any energy one way or the other. Say, that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to do this though. The more energy you give it, the more you let it make you feel a certain way, or if you let it truly stop you from doing something, that's where you're needing to take that feedback and learn, because you can't care about what other people think. I'm looking at helping a lot of people, and the coach I hired, because again, everyone should have a coach. The coach that I recently hired, he's like, you can't care about what other people think about you if you're going to be a good coach. If you're going to show up at a high level, that's one of the first things you've got to get through your head. And I think I know that applies to anything in life. There's so many people pleasers out there. And they have the perception that if they don't show up and if they don't do it perfectly, or, if they make someone upset, that the whole world may fall apart. And the truth is it won't. You hold your energy, you hold your vibration, and the people that entrain to that will rise to the occasion. And the people that want to stay low and don't want to rise will either stay low, they'll come up slowly, or they'll just fade away. And that's okay. I mean, I have relationships in my life that I never thought would be where they are today. Now I'm indifferent about it. And it, for a small period of time, kind of made me sad, but I mourned it and I moved on. I'm like, you know what? That was done for me. It was a part of my life. It is exactly why one of the reasons why I am who I am today, and I'm here. And you know what? It is what it is. And it was a chapter of my book, and it was an amazing chapter. And it's okay if that one's done and I'm moving on to the next. We get we get so stuck in just wanting everything to stay the same, or wondering what happened, or, people change, and just let them change. Let them be who they're going to be, and you go and be who you're going to be. And don't wait around. Don't sit in hope or fester or what if, or but it used to be this way. And, it is what it is. And you can only control how you show up. And if you don't like what's happening right now, take a different perspective on it for sure. And don't let the ego get in the way. It stands in the way of so many things. So many things. All right, well, stay tuned for next week. There'll be another higher faculty that we'll cover. There's 6 of them, so this was number 2. Looking forward to doing a little bit more of a deep dive into each of them because they're so very important. And we're not taught this in school. We're taught our 5 senses, which are meant for us to enjoy in the enhancement of the world and of our experiences. They're not for us to live by. And 90 to 95% of people live by their senses and ignore and don't even know about their higher faculties. So tune in. Again, share this, subscribe, like, follow. I'd love to hear any comments as well. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for spending some time with me today. And if you like what you heard, feel free to share, like, subscribe, follow. Do whatever it is you do. I'd love to get this out to as many people as possible because it truly all does start with awareness. Once you know, you cannot unknow, and it changes everything. And of course, if I can help in any way, I'm here and happy to do so. Until next time, make it a good one.